almost everything will work again if you unplug it for a few minutes, including you and Lamott. You have the power to be the boss of your own life. I'm your host, Monica Allen. I'm a wife, mom, entrepreneur, best-selling author, lifelong learner, and your biz bestie. I have a love and passion for all things small business. Growing my own company from $700 to over 7 figures annually, my goal is to bring you inspiration, business-focused topics and tips, encouragement, and a community that helps you launch, grow, and scale your business, whether you are a dreamer, a side hustler, or a seasoned entrepreneur. You are listening to the Become Your Own Boss podcast. Before I jump in today, I want to invite you to subscribe to the Level Up Living newsletter. A new edition comes out at the end of each month. This isn't a recap of the podcast. It's a monthly message that blends business and real life. Inside, you'll find The Pulse, where entrepreneurship meets everyday life, the Boss Up section with practical business insights, and a life and well-being section focused on staying healthy and balanced while you grow. If you want business growth without burnout, subscribe today. Simply go to monicaallen.com and click on the bright purple button to get subscribed. Level Up Living, where business growth meets intentional living. You can also see the link in the show notes. Today, we're going to talk about something that does not get enough attention. Let me paint the picture. You wake up and immediately you are deciding what workout to do, what to wear, what to eat. Then you open your phone and it begins. Client issue, inventory question. Should we raise prices? Do we hire now or wait another quarter? Is this the right vendor? Should I post this reel today or tomorrow? Do I pivot this offer? Do I respond to this email now or later? And that is just before noon. It's called decision fatigue. As a business owner or CEO, you are constantly making decisions. Some small, some that impact payroll, some that impact your brand, some that impact your family. By 7 p.m., someone asks you, what do you want for dinner? Or what's for dinner? Or as Legend likes to ask me, what's for din-din? And you just stare at them. Or you now need to decide what's for dinner, another decision. By the end of the day, it is not that I don't care, but I am tired. Perhaps you suffer from it as well. That is decision fatigue. Social psychologist Roy Baumeister popularized research around the idea that willpower and decision-making pull from a limited mental reservoir. I believe this. The more decisions you make, the more that reservoir drains. As it drains, the quality of your decisions decline. When you feel like you cannot think clearly at the end of the day, that is not weakness. That is actually neuroscience. And here's the thing, as entrepreneurs, we are especially vulnerable because in the beginning stages, everything comes to us. Every question, every approval, every exception, every problem, every thought about how to grow your business, how to make partners in your business or create partnerships, everything. We become the human decision desk. Let me tell you what this can look like in real life. There have been days at Zeus's Closet where I am approving embroidery proofs, reviewing vendor pricing, answering client emails, mapping out a new strategy for the business, thinking through podcast topics, reviewing financials, and then leaving to help with homework and dinner. Somewhere in there, I'm also deciding if this new idea is worth pursuing or just shiny object syndrome. That is a lot of cognitive load. And when we do not manage it, here's what happens, or at least for me. We procrastinate on important decisions. We make active decisions instead of strategic ones. We say yes when we should say no. We avoid hard conversations. We start craving quick dopamine hits instead of long-term thinking. And do you know where those needs for quick dopamine hits often lead? Social media, the biggest time suck and drain of resources. And I'm working really hard to spend less time there. And truthfully, the time we spend there becomes expensive, not just financially, but emotionally, relationally, spiritually. I don't know about you, but lately I'm just anxious whenever I'm on there. What do we do? And when I say what do we do, I'm talking about our decision fatigue, not social media per se. But let's talk solutions because I'm never going to just leave you with the problem. First, decide once. We have to create systems so we don't reinvent the wheel every day. A long time ago, in Ethan and I's youth, we used to do this in our production process. We would set up the same files over and over again. But then we created a system that prevented this. Set it once, use the same file over and over again, and not having to repeat ourselves. So you can do this too by standardizing your pricing structure, having a clear refund policy and terms, create a defined hiring process, create content calendar themes, or just create a content calendar, create a morning routine that does not change. Or for me, I'll say mine does change, but it doesn't change much. It's just some mornings I choose not to work out. I usually try to work out 2 to 3 days during the week. So those days are different. I've also somewhat created my own work uniform. In the winter months, for example, I tend to wear black leggings with a black Zeus's Closet branded t-shirt or sweatshirt. The only thing I decide on is shoes, which is either a low pair of boots or a high pair of boots or maybe some sneakers. Truth is, when you systematize something, you make the decision one time and then let the system execute. This is why I love systems. Systems protect our brain. I can remember when I was attending the University of Georgia, one of my professors wore the exact same thing every day. He wore khakis and a pink button-down shirt. I do think he changed it each quarter, though, because some quarters it was khakis and a light blue button-down shirt. But he explained to us he didn't want to have to decide what he was wearing every day, which makes sense. This also allows you to let go of those responsibilities. When you have systems, you can train other people on them and you can move on to something else. Second, categorize your decisions. Truthfully, not every decision deserves CEO energy. For example, there are high impact decisions, things that impact revenue, impact people, impact partnerships. Then there are medium impact decisions such as market testing or creative experiments, maybe testing out a new product. Low impact decisions are things like font choices or minor tweaks to something. Do those things really make a difference in your business, and could that be delegated to someone else? If you're spending premium brain power on low impact decisions, you're draining yourself unnecessarily. So remove those and either gift them to someone else or just eliminate them altogether. Third, batch your thinking. Have a CEO day. Have a content planning block. Have a financial review block. This is something I'm working to get back to. As I'm no longer the primary customer-facing person, now I can get back to my finance-focused day, which was typically Wednesday, or days I work on the podcast, which is typically Monday, and specific days to work on specific projects. We have to stop sprinkling big decisions across random moments in our week and create and protect space for those big decisions. Fourth, protect your peak hours. When your brain is sharpest, those are your peak hours. For some of you, it may be early morning. For others, it's late at night. But stop giving your best energy to what I would call low impact or even medium impact things like email or Slack notifications. We actually use WhatsApp. But maybe your peak time is not the time to do that. Well, actually, there's no maybe. That is not what you should be doing. You should be doing the big strategic thinking things during your peak time. I am more alert in the mornings, which is one of the reasons I don't work out every morning. Some days I want to just go ahead and jump right into work so I can get more out of that day. Because around 3 or 4 o'clock, my energy begins to go down. I can feel it. I may get a second wind in the evening, but I can literally feel the brain fog creeping in around 9 p.m., 10 p.m., kind of depending on the day. Use your peak time wisely and try to listen to your body, because your body will tell you your peak time. You probably already know it. I like to stay up late, but that is actually not my peak time. I just like the nighttime hour, but it does not do me well to try to make big decisions during that time. As a business owner, your most valuable work is strategic thinking. I sometimes have to remind myself of that. So during that peak time, do your strategic thinking. Fifth, delegate outcomes, not just tasks. If every question still comes back to you, that is not delegation. That is disguised micromanagement. We have to teach our team how to think through problems. You can give them guardrails, maybe even give them a dollar amount where they can make a decision on something, but let them make decisions within those boundaries. That's how you reduce decision fatigue for yourself long term. One way to do this is to ask a team member when they bring something to you, well, what do you think when they come and ask you about something? This allows you to begin to train them also to make decisions without you being involved. You can walk through it together and they can see how you think. And they will learn, hopefully, to think like that as well. What's your strategy? What's your rationale for making a certain decision? And let me say this. Managing your decision energy is not selfish. It's actually really good stewardship because it's important for growing your business. When you're mentally drained, you are less patient with your spouse, less present with your kiddos, less creative in your business, less bold with your vision. I am going on vacation this week, and I'm very excited to have someone else in the driver's seat back in the office. This will actually be the first vacation I've had in a couple of years where I can actually unplug. Though truthfully, I'm looking forward to just getting some thinking time unencumbered by the work itself. I'm looking forward to it. Ethan actually said, I'm not even taking my laptop. And I said, well, I'm taking my laptop. I want to take my laptop because it's not about being an email. I don't want to do that. It's not about those types of things, but I want to capture any thoughts or strategies that pop up. I want to be able to capture those. And I could write them down in a notebook or something, but I want to capture them on my computer. But protecting your mind is part of protecting your legacy. You know, we talk a lot about scaling revenue. We want to scale our business, but we also need to scale capacity. And capacity includes mental clarity. Here's my challenge for you. And me, too. I'm working on these already. But this week, identify 3 decisions you make repeatedly and turn them into systems. Then I want you to identify 1 category of decision you can delegate. The most recent thing I've done to this regard is offboarding, processing approvals, and ordering entirely. I started with just approvals a few months ago. And then January, I took ordering off my plate. Now, I had to set up the system. I had to make videos to show my assistant how to order from the different vendors. I used Zoom clips, and it was great. It provides you with a link. I can share the link with her. I put them all in one document so she can easily get to it. This has given me more bandwidth to think creatively and strategically. And it takes a non-revenue producing activity off of my desk. Also, by making the videos once, someone else can take the baton if my assistant is out or decides to move on. And finally, block 1 2-hour window on your calendar each week that is sacred CEO thinking time. I am still working on this piece. But one of my mompreneur mastermind buddies recently showed me her spreadsheet, which is more of a high-level overview of her day. I'm going to do this for myself as well. While my planner will remain more granular from day to day, my spreadsheet will give me kind of a broader picture of what I want each day to look like. Because it's changed now. Now that I have someone that's more forward facing and I have to some days pick up the kids if Ethan's traveling, and that's still very, very important to me. So I've got to make sure that my day is in alignment with the things that I need to get done and I want to get done. CEO thinking time will be going on this spreadsheet. Keep in mind that once you have your CEO time, you will need to guard it. I know this already. We may even need to take our CEO time outside of the office. As the quote at the top of the episode goes, almost everything will work again if you unplug it for a few minutes, including you. This is one of my favorite quotes. And while I often reference this more so in the space of self-care, which is important, there are times when you also need to unplug at the office to make space. Space to think, space to be more creative, space to be more strategic in your business. Schedule your CEO time on your calendar each week. Some of you probably already do this, and that is great. I am going to do it for myself. Thank you for listening today. I'm grateful for you. Take a moment to leave a review on Apple or Spotify. This really helps the podcast reach more people. And the more successful businesses we have, the better for the economy and society. Also, Take a moment to share this episode. Remember, our goal is not to suffer from decision fatigue. We don't want to make more decisions. The goal is to make better ones. And remember, now is the time. Now is the time to level up, leave a legacy, and become your own boss.